So yeah, me again. And I have to say I didn't think that recording, into a mic would be so interesting, but it kind of is, it's well, whatever. So I was sitting in the dark thinking about where this country's headed and what the future could look like. And it's kind of scary. I really am scared, you know. You look at something like the Great Depression and you hope that something like that never happens in your lifetime, that you had to deal with that sort of hardship. But, it seems that the current administration or regime, I should say, is steering us in that direction intentionally. Some might say that there's no good reason for them to do so, but, when you look at all that they've done, it's not an accident, you know. Ineptitude on this scale, there's just not an accident. Similar to California, right? Like, I'm convinced at this point that a 5-year-old could run California better than Gavin Newsom, right? What Gavin Newsom has done is not an accident, and so too, I guess the same could be said about the Biden administration. So what does this mean for us as a country? I don't know, but it is scary. You look at places like Venezuela, Cuba, and stuff, right? And the population, similar to what's going on in America right now, the population kind of asked for it, you know, and they learned too late that, as always, socialism, although I guess it has the best intentions. No, not even the best intentions. I can't even say that because they just want to steal the product of other people's labor and redistribute it. But I can see the appeal to socialism, the idea that, we all live happily together, kumbaya. We all share the fruits of our labor and, whatever, whatever. So I can see the appeal, right? The problem is it just never works. It never works, and so I was, going back to, I think, Sargon, he had a very uh, a really interesting take on it. He was like, socialism, you know, the wealth distribution goes from, you have the top 1% to the top 0.1%, right? And, we can see this once again in like Cuba, Venezuela. We'll just stick with Cuba, right? Like Fidel had an estate worth I don't know how many $billion, right? And you have surgeons living in dirt huts making $25 a month, right? Uh, yeah. I saw this video once. This guy, he was showing what life is like in Cuba. The bare shelves, the lines for gasoline. It was stretching for miles, when people were waiting for so long, or they wait till the last minute that they have to push their car to the gas station. It was crazy, you know? But and this is what these people want. I mean, they don't say they want it, but when you look at socialism and its astonishing lack of success, I mean, what else can you say except that this is their goal, you know? You'll see a lot of people, uh, I don't know, they'll try to give socialism a pass or, whatever, right? But it's just like, if you look, does a free market system have its faults? Yes, it does. But if you were to put socialism and capitalism in a ring, and we were to look at the tail of the tape, right, you would see that socialism is not only inferior in every sense, but it also has a win record of zero. And how anyone could even think they deserve to be in the ring is beyond me, but here we go, right? Well, like, because it's the thing is like, it's leftists, they have this idea, they want to create a utopia, right? And as we see in the past, as with every other socialist and or communist regime, they really just they don't care about the cost, the toll it takes on human lives, the misery, the distress. You know, they don't care. They really don't. You know, some people, like to pretend like, people, the left is compassionate, but they're really not. They put on this facade of compassion, but it's not. It's not. There's this underlying hatred and also this kind of desire to be the new aristocracy, I think, right? You look at someone like Bill Maher, right? Now, Bill Maher is not he's pretty much like an old school leftist. I mean, he goes a little full retard sometimes, but I mean, look, Bill Maher, he's not like radical, right? And we look at what happened when Trump was in office, and he's like, he was hoping for a recession just so Trump would look bad, right? And it's like, okay, you want people to be hungry, you want people to be miserable, you want people to be financially insecure, all because you don't like the idea of populism, right? And what can you say about a mindset like that except that such a person is inherently evil? And we find, we probably use that word a lot too much these days. But honestly, what else do you call something like that except evil? Now we take into mind that Bill Maher isn't even like left, right? So like imagine the radicals, right? You look at the fucking radicals, and honestly, you know, TDS has created this state where we have a whole generation of psychos. And I mean that in the literal sense. I mean, these people wish death upon their political opponents. And, I guess you could say that this is the result of the dehumanization pushed by the propaganda arm of the DNC that is also known as the mainstream media, right? But that is exactly what it is. And, there are people on the left who would absolutely have no qualms and actually would probably applaud the idea of just lining up every non-leftist, lining them up against the wall for a firing squad. And it's no mistake. We see this in a whole bunch of communist government. These body counts. It's not a mistake. It's working as intended. They really so they put on this facade of compassion, but it's not compassion. It's not really. And the compassionate people who do advocate for the left, well, I think they're just misguided in a certain sense, because they think they're on the side of right, but they're stuck on the tribal politics, my side, your side, good, evil, whatever, whatever, that they just, their sense of self has become so connected to leftism that they just can't see uh, being any other way, right? To them, the right is evil. It's evil, you know, and nothing the left does can ever be wrong. And, it's how do you fight that, right? People have to be willing to be open minded to whatever. And this is what we're dealing with, right? So we have a government that is actively trying to destroy this country. They're trying to head us towards a collapse. And why? Because there's a bunch of busybody billionaires that, what is it, moral busybodies, right? So they're, billionaires who just think they know what's best, and once again, they just don't care about the cost of human lives. It's worth it to them as long as they can make their utopia happen. For some reason, they have this perverse need to make socialism work, and I don't get it. I don't think any sane person really can understand why they persist in this idea. Once again, I understand, you know, its appeal to a certain extent, but I mean, once again, just look at its history. It doesn't work. And I don't think there's any other thing on this planet that can fail so spectacularly and still have people advocate for it. It's weird. It really is. It really is. So, whatever. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. But there is a little ray of hope, you know. We're starting to see, people come back up. We're starting to see another rise of populism. It never really died, but we got people like DeSantis like holding it down, and and I really love what he's doing down in Florida. We got a lot of new voices coming out, and shout out to Ben Shapiro and all these other guys doing their thing, doing their part. There's just so many people out there fighting the culture war, and I can appreciate that. These things need to be said. These voices need to be heard because it's we're on the path to destruction, and it honestly may be too late to stop it. I suspect that we are past the point of no return, and anything we do right now is only slowing our demise, our inevitable destruction. You know, every country has its lifespan. You know, 200 years, 700 years, who knows? But it certainly doesn't help when your own government is trying to destroy what your country is, the principles that your country was founded on. Certainly doesn't help. Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's about it. I just kind of, I don't know. I caught the bug. I caught the bug. I just really, I had my first upload earlier, and I just kind of, I don't know. It's just a way for me to express myself or something. So it's just, yeah, yeah. So hopefully I'll get my editing skills on point, and I can start producing some solid content in the future. So, whatever. Anyway, till next time. Peace.